The Alamo Breast Cancer Foundation is one of the nation's really well-established advocacy groups. Let's hear about their mentor program. Dale, good to see you. Tell us about the mentor program at Alamo.
Well, first of all, let me tell you, I'm so glad to be here again for this interview, and thanks for asking us again. The mentor program of the Alamo Breast Cancer Foundation was started 16 years ago. We were coming down here to the San Antonio Breast Cancer Symposium, which is the largest breast cancer specific symposium in the nation and I think across the world.
Oh, I think across the world for sure.
Yes,
yeah, you bet.
Because so many countries are represented here.
Right.
So we had been coming down and just had a display table, but we always wanted to do more. And as advocates started coming to the symposium more, and there was an interest with the physicians and clinicians in advocacy, we were asked by the symposium to put together a program for advocates, and they gave us our first seed money to do that.
Oh, great.
But they just let us run with it. So we had to design this program. And what we came up with and what we wanted was to bring advocates in to experience the symposium. But having attended the symposium ourselves, we knew that they had to know a little bit about science.
Got it.
So, because it would be very hard for the lay people to understand.
So therefore,
So-
the idea of mentors for the advocates came forth. Is that
Well,
right?
let me just go on and explain.
Okay.
So there are training for breast cancer advocates out there. There are training programs. And one of them in particular is Project Lead, which is a really good science course. It takes in basic science, epidemiology. And we knew that if they had gone through Project Lead, if we could bring them in, and we would fund these advocates to come in, they would understand what they were hearing. But we also said, well, now if we're going to give them funding, we also want them to do something with,
Sure.
So what we required was that they would come to the symposium, and we would assign them a hot topic
Okay.
from the symposium, and they would have to write about this hot topic.
Got it.
And they would have to then disseminate that to their constituencies. So one of the requirements also about having some science background is that they have a constituency, they belong to an organization. We prefer that they be a breast cancer survivor.
Right.
And so we had this application process.
Okay.
And then we would bring them in, and for the nights of the symposium, we would put together mentors, which would be experts and clinicians from the symposium that would present what they thought would be the hot topics of the day.
Okay.
And then they would open it up for these advocates who have to write the hot topics to ask their questions.
Very good.
Well, it became very, very popular very quickly.
Sure.
And we have, and I can tell you who we have tonight, which you're going to stream. We have the world-renowned experts, and they all want to be on our program.
Yep.
It's
Well, that's
amazing.
great.
Yeah.
And so I think you were telling me also that in other forms of cancer, other groups have sort of adopted this model. Is that right?
Well, as they saw the success of this,
Yeah.
of course, I think the first one was with ASCO. They started having an advocate program, and also with other cancers other than breast cancer, which is really good.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm glad we served as a model for these programs.
Great. Okay.
And also AACR, the American Association of Cancer Research, is that
Correct.
correct?
Yep.
Okay, so yes.
Good.
And since we have international advocates that we bring in now too,
Right.
they have also established programs in European countries. We have now educated over 400 advocates.
Okay.
And so, yes. And if anybody out there is interested in finding out about the program, they can go to our website,
Okay, very good. And your website is?
alamobreastcancer.org.
AlamoBreastCancer.org. for more information about the mentor program. Dale Eastman, thank you very much.
Sure.